This is such a vast topic. I could be here all night. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 298. This is the one about what is not Jeet Kune Do. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcasts. So, like I said in the opening, this is a topic which could go on forever and ever, but I am not going to do that because we already have enough back in and forth in here on Facebook and YouTube, and I like to avoid as much of it as I can. Now, you may have heard me talk about this before, that in the early days of my own JKD journey, I fell into what I thought was the cool, kind of rebellious way to talk to people about JKD by telling them that it was easier to explain to them what it wasn't than what it was. And yeah, that kind of thing works or worked until it doesn't. And by the way, this almost nonchalant, almost dismissive way of talking about JKD, I think that's one of the reasons why in the modern era, it's possible to find a statement written or recorded that in the light of today seems inaccurate or misleading, but I digress. So here's what Jeet Kune Do is not. It is not a fixed set of techniques, nor is it a static, unchanging approach to martial art training. However, it is also not a grab bag of any number of techniques from any number of arts, nor is it an ever-changing approach to martial art training. So what does that mean? How can Jeet Kune Do both be not a thing and also not be the opposite of the thing? It is because Bruce Lee, in his infinite wisdom, built into his art a philosophy which embraces the ever-present concept of mutability. Now, what's mutability? I think it can be considered a synonym for adaptability. So I am not saying that Jeet Kune Do must change as time goes by. I'm saying that its ability to change is already there. It's already built in. How so? Well, that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked it. Ask yourself this. What was Bruce Lee in search of? The most efficient way of combat, right? So what did he do? He spent hours looking at stuff, theorizing on stuff, comparing and contrasting stuff, and also trying out stuff to see what worked for him. And he fully invited and expected his students to join him in this process of self-discovery, because that too was another concept built into Jeet Kune Do. So this is why he wrote stuff like, truth cannot be perceived until we come to fully understand ourselves and our potentials. After all, knowledge in the martial art ultimately means self-knowledge. Because remember this, Bruce Lee was violently opposed, as Sifu Dan says, to the idea that in training martial art, everybody's goal should be to look like everybody else and do everything the exact same way. Because remember, that's what was going on in the classical systems at the time. So in other words, looking like the style was the most important thing. That's when So today, see, when you hear people talking about, and I saw this just hours ago, when you hear people talking about who in the JKD world looks most like Bruce Lee, they are missing the point. They're sorely missing the point. Now, understand this. I am not saying that Bruce Lee cannot be the role model. Hell, I've told you this before. When I sidekick, I try to channel Bruce Lee to the best of my ability. So I am not saying that Bruce Lee cannot be the role model. But let me ask you this. How many of us actually got to see Bruce Lee move in real life outside of the movies? So really, except for the movies, we just have an idea. We just have an imaginary idea of what he must move like. Yes, because I mean, there is the footage of the backyard training and what have you, right? But some of that backyard training, if you tried to do that in the street with the recovery that Bruce Lee has for some of the kicks, you'd be in trouble. So obviously, that's not the best representation of his real life approach. So what do we know? What do we have then? To see Bruce Lee successfully pulling off techniques, you got to go to the movies. So now, is it the cinematic image that we're going to base what we do off of? Anyhow, I know you guys are smart enough. You can see where I'm going with this, right? Okay. So since there's long been so much controversy over people adding stuff to Jeet Kune Do, and we all know who accuses whom of doing this, right? So let's play a game. Okay, so JKD is not Filipino Kali, but there's a JKD concept of longest weapon to closest target, right? So guess you what? To imitate Rita Marley, guess you what?
And guess you what? Guess you what?
If you take the Kali stick and you aim to hit the lead leg, or you aim to hit your opponent's extended arm, then you're doing what's known as largo mano. And guess you what again? There's a report that this is exactly what Bruce Lee did one day in the presence of none other than Dan Inosanto. Plus, we can kind of see him kind of doing it in Enter the Dragon and Game of Death, right? JKD is not Pencak Silat, but there's a concept in Silat called constant forward pressure. And guess you what? If you take that idea of constant forward pressure and you put it into your JKD trapping hands, for example, it can enhance your aggressive defense, to paraphrase Bruce Lee. Oh, and if you're one of those people who has dispensed with trapping because, it doesn't work, guess you what? Constant forward pressure in your kicking and punching, elbowing and kneeing or what have you, and you're striking, that's not a bad thing either. JKD is not Muay Thai, but kicking the Thai pads and kicking the heavy bag, Muay Thai style, can do wonders for your cardiovascular conditioning. So you know what you can do? You can take their style of kicking, the multiple kick approach, and use that in your JKD kicking, and you can get a much more intense JKD workout. Now, that'd be a good thing, right? One more. JKD is not Boxe Française-Savate, but BFS's method of being in constant motion while kicking and punching from varied angles is a thing to behold, and it's a whole other thing to pull off. So it expands on the Jeet Kune Do practitioner's ability to stay mobile and to execute something like the simple angulated attack. I could go on, but again, to paraphrase Bruce Lee, I think I'll stop now, because if I continue, only certain people will get it. Okay, so what say you? We've long talked about what JKD is. But what do you think about this idea of talking about what Jeet Kune Do is not? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I got to say about this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. The Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available. That's paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. You can support me and the show at jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this. The JKD Notables t-shirt, also available in kitchen implements like this. This is the 4 tenets of Jeet Kune Do coffee mug, also available in garment form. That's jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link and check that stuff out. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. All right, so you guys know the deal. So on Friday, I told you this last week. Friday will be the last for the month of November episode of the JKD Dialogues, simply because I'm going to be on the road for the next 2, if not 3 weekends, right? So we're doing an Ask Me Anything. So if you want to post, I'll probably put up, let's see, I might put up the postcard tonight. So you can go ahead and post any questions for me on the postcard, or post it now since it's on your mind, or email me at jkdrebel@gmail.com, jkdrebel@gmail.com. So that will be this Friday, Ask Me Anything episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right? And that's it. Today's a blue day. There you go. Old school, right? So I'll see some of you on Friday at 6. If not, now next Wednesday, I'm on the road for Thanksgiving. And yeah, at 6 p.m., I'll be airborne. So unless I can pull something off earlier in the day, or maybe even on Tuesday next week, we'll see what happens, right? Otherwise, don't miss me too much, right? But for now, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Goes like this, right? So let me show you with Glenn what we're talking about here. So you know how in the Wing Chun, a lot of times we do this this reference point trapping thing, right? And then you kind of go like this, and your partner does whatever or whatever, right? So the way I remember it, what Sifu Nasano was saying is that kind of entry, that kind of like Wing Chun entry, that's not the Silat method. Because remember what I told you about the constant forward pressure, see? So the idea would be, right, so he'll back up when I do this, but the idea is that when I move in, this is where I'm going. So it's a whole lot more aggressive, you could say, right? And then the thing about Pencak Silat is this, see? So when I move here, even if he moves back, because it is Pukulan Pencak Silat, I'm still gonna be trying to hit him and overrunning him while I do the off-balancing stuff. You see? So